Redeemer family, Pastor Seth here for the last of the Beatitudes, and Chapel Family Talks with you. Now, normally I start out with someplace different, someplace unique, or maybe something funny, but not today. Today's a little bit more serious. Here's why. This last Beatitude, I'm kind of putting two of them together, but it's verses 10 and 11 of Matthew chapter 5. They go like this. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are you when others revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For so they are persecuted the prophets who are before you. Persecution, it's not something that I laugh about or joke about. Persecution means that if you say something about your faith in Jesus, something bad happens to you. And this is hard for us to understand because in this country and at this time, there is nothing stopping you from telling anyone about the love of Jesus. The most persecution you'll get is maybe somebody's going to tell you to stop. Stop talking. I don't like to hear that. That's pretty much the worst thing that's going to happen when you talk about your faith in Jesus, who has died to give life to the world, who's died to take away his sins. I can record this video, and I can send it out to all of you, and I'm not going to get persecuted for it here. It's a great blessing. But that is not the case throughout most of the world. In fact, most of the world is upside down. So this is what I like about this video. Is the first video that you got to see, I started it upside down, and I let you know that in these Beatitudes, these blessed sayings of Jesus, that he sees the world differently. He sees it kind of upside down, but it's not wrong. He sees it the right way. We see him the wrong way. What do I mean by that? This is what I mean. The world does not love Jesus. That's why it's so hard to talk about Jesus in the rest of the world. Keep in mind what Jesus is saying here. He says, kind of in an upside down way, blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. So you're persecuted in this world. But then he says, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So it's kind of like saying, look, there's things that are messed up and backwards down here on earth. But on heaven, we get to see him the right way. Which is why, again, in verse 11, he said, blessed are you when others revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. So again, he's saying, look, heaven's got this right. They see that speaking about me is the best thing you can do in life. The world has this wrong. The world is upside down. So,
I'm not sure I understand.
What does that mean for persecution? It means you're going to maybe experience persecution someday. And if you don't, please know that persecution is real. This is a map from a group called Open Doors. Now you might be like, Pastor Seth, it's upside down. I know, it's upside down on purpose because this world sees Jesus the wrong way. All of these colored countries on this map have been identified by Open Doors as targets of massive abuse and persecution against Christians. So that means if you live in one of these countries, you are most likely not able to talk about Jesus in public without fear of getting hurt, getting put in jail. So for instance, last year, this group, Open Doors, kept track of a lot of persecution. They said that 5,621 Christians lost their life just because they talked about Jesus. We can't really laugh about that. That's real persecution. People got their lives taken away because they talked about their faith. 2,110 churches were attacked because they were places where people were talking about Jesus. And 4,542 Christians were thrown into prison or jail just because they were talking about their faith. Now you might think that's somewhere else in the world. It's nowhere close to us. Well, actually, there are 4 countries in the top 50 persecuted areas. And one of them is right below us. You can still be persecuted for talking about your Christian faith in areas of Mexico. You can still be persecuted significantly for talking about your Christian faith if you're in Cuba, Nicaragua, Colombia. These are countries that are not too far from us. But there's also Christians all throughout the world who give up their lives, who go to jail, whose churches get demolished just because they're talking about Jesus. Now remember the message that Jesus came to bring? He said that he came to bring love. He came to bring forgiveness. When people were hurting him, he looked down on them and said, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. But the world saw him kind of in an upside down way. They see him as a threat. They see love as something that's hard to understand and hard to grasp. And so they meet love with hate. My prayer for you is that maybe someday you are going to experience persecution. Know that your brothers and sisters in this world stand next to you when you talk about your faith in Jesus. Know that there have been other people that have stood up for their faith and they paid a pretty high cost. Know that that wasn't a time that was just in the past a long time ago, maybe in the Roman era. All those stats that I gave you about people being, losing their lives, being put in jail, their churches attacked, that all happened last year. And a lot of the stories that are on this map, they're happening right now. So maybe the first thing that you can do, hearing about this beatitude in Jesus, is 1, just give thanks. You're in a place where you can talk about your faith. But 2, since you can talk about your faith, don't let anything stop you. There is nothing that should stop you from speaking about your faith in the risen Jesus to other people, to anyone who will listen. It's a luxury that the whole world doesn't have, but we do. So let's go tell the world. But also, pray for those around this world that they don't have the luxury you and I do. Pray for them, that they would be supported and encouraged in their faith, that they'd be bold, that their families would support them. Pray for them. Don't forget them. They are encouraged when they hear that you remember them. And really remember, as we kind of wrap this whole year up, that your life, my life, looks a lot different now because of Jesus. We can see the world the right way, even if it's upside down. It's been such a blessing speaking with you during these chapel family talks throughout this whole year. I pray that these Beatitudes continue to bless you as you continue to know, grow, and go with Jesus. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.